Let's just cross live first to the United States before we come back to your thoughts on that. And talk to Simon Marks, LBC's US correspondent, joining us live from Washington, D.C. with news, Simon, of quite a landmark moment as Donald Trump repeals yet another piece of climate change legislation. Evening, what's happened?
Yeah, this is a very significant moment, Ben. This is President Trump repealing something called the endangerment finding that was signed into law by President Barack Obama back in 2009. And it is the finding that suggests the American government recognizes that climate change contributes to the endangerment of human beings, that climate change plays a role in shortening the lives of human beings, that it plays a role in damaging the health of human beings. Donald Trump completely rejecting that out of hand, overturning the endangerment finding today and reversing scientific orthodoxy here in the United States that has basically identified global warming as a problem for human health that has been accepted by every single American president except Donald Trump since President Richard Nixon. And in presenting this decision at the White House today, he said that this was going to be a huge boon for American consumers. The endangerment finding he presented as part of a big international scam aimed at ripping Americans off, resulting in tighter emissions standards, for example, on cars that have sent the price of cars soaring. And as ever, he spoke witheringly about electric vehicles. And he, in making this announcement, said that he was undoing even basic, widely accepted features in modern vehicles.
Under the endangerment finding, they forced the hated start-stop feature onto American consumers, which unnecessarily shuts off a car's engine when you stop at a red light. In other words, the engine goes off. That's great. The endangerment finding was also used to impose the massive and really very expensive electric vehicle mandate. Everybody was going to be forced to buy an electric car in a very short period of time, even though you can't power the car, because we would have had to spend $5 trillion on power stations. That's all dead, gone, over.
Dead, gone, over. Very much redolent of the president's wider plans to reject the whole concept of climate change and return America to an earlier era of gas-guzzling cars. He, of course, constantly tells the Prime Minister that he should be allowing for more drilling in North Sea oil, telling European leaders they're wasting their time with windmills. All of this wrapped up today in this announcement. The Environmental Defence Fund here, which clearly does not think that what President Trump is doing is a good idea, has put out its projection tonight. It says that President Trump's decision will increase America's greenhouse gas emissions by 10% over the next 30 years. It will lead to 58,000 premature deaths and 37 million asthma attacks unnecessarily by the year 2055. But the president is having absolutely none of it, has embraced his opportunity to overturn this endangerment finding, and he's promising Americans that they are going to see the price of cars tumbling dramatically. That's the projection that he made today, which I think is going to be put to a test fairly rapidly, because there's no tremendous expectation on the part of the auto industry that that is going to occur.
I wanted to ask you about that, Simon, about the motivation here, and ask you, if I could, and I'm sorry for this, to step inside Donald Trump's mind for just a moment and sort of explain, is this purely ideological? Because we know Donald Trump has got an enormous chip on his shoulder about anything to do with climate change and greenhouse gases and so on. Or is there some sort of, however warped, economic rationale for his fury at people having to turn their engines off at red lights?
Well, I mean, no, there's no rationale economically for that whatsoever.
It's not about
he's
US
an old
car production or
traditionalist.
something like that.
Well, no, it is definitely about trying to boost domestic car production of non-electric vehicles. I mean, by overturning that electric car mandate, he has derailed the likelihood that the United States is going to follow, for example, what is now delayed in Europe and the UK, but the move towards taking petrol-powered cars and diesel-powered cars off the new car forecourts at showrooms all over the country. I mean, he's an old gas guzzler. He just doesn't buy the whole concept that the climate is changing. This is a man who, in his first term as president, went out to California after a whole series of very, very serious forest fires and sat there with Californian environmental officials and lectured them and told them that they were believing in junk science about global warming. So, you know, he's pulled the United States out of the Paris Climate Change Accords. He doesn't believe it. He simply doesn't buy it.
Thank you, Simon. As always, Simon Marks, LBC's US correspondent.